Hello and welcome back to the Gold Advantage. The regular season of the LEC is over, and in a shocking finish, XL and Fnatic are out. Where did they go wrong? And more importantly, what do they need to do now to find success with next season? For the other 8 teams, best of threes group stages are about to begin in the new LEC format. We have some exciting matches this week, particularly the new blood in BDS and SK. How will they match up against the legacy champions in G2 and Koi? I'm your host, Nikita, and back with me this week is BigMoneyBlivs.
Man, I'm so excited to be here on a best of 3 weekend. There's just like 2 matches made in heaven, and I'm excited to get into it.
Let's kick it off with XL and Fnatic.
Let's do it.
This is, you had XL in second, third place in your preseason rankings.
Whoops.
I was hot on them as well. I thought really this is a team that has a lot of potential if they don't fall into the pitfall. And I think what's really interesting about these 2 teams is that we called out the fact that they were built around a lot of passive laners, and that we were worried about who in the team would end up carrying. And that was both Fnatic and XL. XL's had a serious implosion from the start. They just never worked. Fnatic, off week 1, I think looked okay. And then after that, it just got worse and worse. And they just look so mentally boomed, and the trust has been destroyed. I don't see how they can move forward. What are your takeaways?
Before the season started, I think we both had XL and Fnatic in the 10th and 9th place. Like that was the most obvious choice, and therefore, like, this all makes a lot of sense. No, I mean, I think the thing I'm most disappointed in, right, is Fnatic's. This is a team that has a history of excellence in winning, and for them to come in and just shit the bed in 0-3 weekend when you know what's at stake, to lose to Astralis is inexcusable. Just inexcusable. And I mean, the thing that I'm, to your point earlier, XL, like, I took a swing, a big swing, clearly a whiff. Maybe they can get better, but to that point, like, what do these 2 teams do right now? You've got Fnatic and XL who have a prolonged off season, right, an extra week, but like at a time in the season when they would normally not be off. What do these 2 teams have to do, or how do they even go about doing it to make sure that this doesn't happen again at the next part of the season? Which I guess they're calling the spring. Is it called the spring
season? Yes. So this is winter season, and then we go spring and then summer, because we're having 3 this year. It's really tough because that's actually, that's the first point. This new format doesn't synchronize up with other seasons. So it's not like you can go to the LCK or to the LCS and just grab someone, because they're all, they're about not even halfway through their split. So it's like, who can you take from them? So now you've got to start looking in ERLs and these smaller leagues. And is that really the talent you want?
No.
Both teams, I think, need to blow it up. They have to, especially Fnatic. There is a shocking lack of trust. And you saw this in the final week of gameplay in their loss to Astralis, in their last game against SK particularly. Razork is going in, no one is following him, Rekkles is ditching Rux. There's a massive lack of trust in each other. The team dynamic is completely shot. So they need to decide who they're keeping. The issue here is Humanoid, as phenomenal as he is, looks like he's just kind of phoning it in and not making an effort.
So let me propose a question. Now you've got me super excited for this.
Okay.
All right. The 2 teams that are out, XL and Fnatic, they have to propose 1 or 2 players that they're going to swap, right? Which players from Fnatic could you put on XL and vice versa? Because they'd have to be like for like, right? Top lane for top lane, mid for mid. Which 1 or 2 players would you swap that you think would make both of these teams no longer the bottom of the class?
The problem is that the swap that works for one team does not work for the other one.
That's why
that's
this
really
is an important
the issue.
part.
So when you say that, it's like I think of Odoamne and Wonder, and I would probably put Vitheo instead of Humanoid. But I just
phone it into the league. I love it.
But it's just the problem there is that does XL really want Humanoid? And like, they want the good Humanoid from Worlds, but do they want the Humanoid that doesn't give a shit? Well, no, not so much.
But like, he's got to give a shit. He's got to like this is a player's career. Like, how is he going to go down like this?
I know, but look at how he's performed. Look how he's been so far.
Completely agree. Since no one asked me, I'm still going to give you my opinion.
By all means.
I do think and funny enough, I'm actually going to say 2 players that you didn't say.
Okay.
I think you would want to swap Targamas.
Yeah.
In Rux, because I think that, to your point, like having a bottom line and sync is just super critical, and those two Rux and Rekkles are clearly just not synced up.
Yes.
And so to me, like, let's see how we can change that one up, and then kind of in the same way, I would swap Xerxes and Razork. Like, to your point again, I just think like Razork isn't necessarily communicating with this team, and like the flow's off. Like, let's get someone back in the middle of the game, mixing things up, and really have I think that those two would allow for a bottom lane in your mid game to really get amplified for both teams. And at this point, you just gotta fucking try anything. You just gotta change.
I actually think I prefer yours to mine, to be honest, because I think Targamas and Rekkles would work well together, so that Fnatic gets a benefit, and I think Razork would work better with XL and making them more aggressive. So yeah, maybe that is a solution there. We'll have to wait and see. It's a really tough one.
I don't know where else they're getting players from, so let's just call it into.
I mean, I love the new format for this, because no way did anyone predict this to happen, and the fact that it did, I think
except
it's
for us,
so exciting. Of course. All right, now looking at the rest of the standings, I think we just run down the top 8 and just kind of give our quick thoughts on it. Vitality sitting in first place. They actually tied with Mad Lions, but they've taken first because they beat them. Thoughts on them? What do you think?
I mean, it's funny because like I just can't get out of my mind our preseason rankings where Vitality, I think we agreed, was all going to be like right there in like 1, 2, 3 somewhere, some order.
Sure.
So seeing them in first place is kind of like the one thing we kind of got right. But then like Mad Lions, I remember like, I mean, I was such an Armut fan, and you and Scoot were completely on board, right, by saying getting Armut off of there is actually going to make them better. And Chasey coming in and actually being able to perform and do so well. I mean, I love Mad Lions kind of in general. Like, they're just kind of a fun team, great logo. And usually the logos are what I choose my allegiances by. But yeah, like I'm super excited to have them. I don't think any of us ever expected them to be in second place with this team, but it's it's kind of like the old teams and just kind of a revigoration. And it seems like the chemistry is now working a lot better, and you're seeing that across the board.
Yeah, look, I think with Vitality, they are clearly the best team. They've only dropped 2 games. They're playing really well. I am always very concerned when they draft in such a way that they're leaving it to Perks or the bot lane to carry. Basically, if I was Bo and Photon, I would be permanently on carry champs, because they are so phenomenal. Perks is a weird one in that he is doing fine in the mid game and team fights, but I'm still not that impressed by his laning phase. I feel like he's still struggling there. I don't think he's winning his lane, and this is a concern maybe for further down when we're looking at international events. But that is something I'd highlight. I love what you said about Mad Lions. I had them 5th, 6th. I thought Kazi and Hillisang would be inting. Apparently, they have the lowest deaths for the bot lane, so they are just doing the exact opposite of what we know them for.
Being measured and being consistent, which is very rare when you think of a Karzi Hillisang combo.
Absolutely. Exactly that. Thank you for covering me. I just had like a coughing, choking fit, and
it was a perfect
B&B
time.
slid in perfectly. The team is looking really solid, and I think more than anything, like when we look at Fnatic and XL, they seem to lack a real identity and a sense of purpose of how they're going to win. Mad Lions, it's the exact opposite. Everyone is fitting into their role really nicely, and they're just playing well as a team, and I really like that. Going down, SK in 3rd place, though, technically, and G2 in 4th place at 6 and 3. I'll probably start off with G2, in that we've seen G2 do this before, where they try not to burn themselves out, because they've realized that basically if they come 1st or 4th, the way the bracket matches up, they'll end up the same. I don't know if that's still the same.
I was gonna say, is that what you're going with? Is that what you're going with right now?
They've said in previous seasons where they grinded out, hit first place, but
I know, but this season isn't previous seasons. There's a new format.
I think what I'll say about them is when they are ahead, they win so hard. When they are winning, they know how to finish games, and they are great to watch. When they are playing from behind, they struggle, and that's something that they need to figure out. I don't think they're bad. I actually would probably still put them as 3rd, 2nd best team, but they do need to figure it out. Hans Sama has been phenomenal, though.
I know.
So.
He's so good, except for when they're playing BDS, which we will get to very soon.
Which we will get to. Do you have many thoughts on G2?
I don't think it's quite as easy as what you said, right? I don't think it's just them choosing not to win because they don't want to burn out.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that. Sorry.
Right. Yeah, I know. But, like, to me, it's concerning that they lose to SK already. It's concerning, especially, like, I remember us coming on here 2 weeks ago being like, G2 best team in the league, like, just hands up, unquestionably. They're just like there's like G2 and then everybody else, right? And even though that was even when Vitality went 3-0 in that first weekend with them, but I'm concerned, right? Losing to Koi, right? Again, like a team you shouldn't really lose to, especially the way they're playing this year.
Sure.
And then immediately following that up with Mad Lions. Now look, they're losing to Mad, great team. Losing to Vitality, great team. They're losing to some of the better teams, but like it's still concerning when I see them. I just like haven't been super impressed. And like their win against BDS, which I know we'll get to, was like quite impressive the way they came back. Mm-hmm. Now I think that's actually more concern that I have for BDS, but I don't know. I'm so much more curious to hear your perspective on SK than G2.
Well, so this is the thing. It's like, so G2, I maintain first week they looked phenomenal because they got a lead, an advantage, and they know how to snowball that. And that is what we've just seen them do. When they match up against one of those better teams, the three teams above them, you literally named all three there, Vitality, Mad, and SK, they are the teams that know how to not give a lead. And that's where G2 has struggled with. So in a way, this is things we've said about previous teams. They destroy everyone below them. They don't win against us above them. But I am curious what will happen in a best-of-3 format. Do they lose every game where they're behind or where they don't get an advantage or not? And that's something. SK, I can't, this team has overperformed above and beyond everything. This was another team I think we really overlooked and thought wouldn't be good. Well, not that we were excited about the bot lane, Exakick and DOS.
Yep.
I know you in particular, you really highlighted them, but we thought there might be some first stage jitters, but really, like, I actually think Exakick and DOS might be the best bot lane duo. They're definitely top 3.
They're amazing.
Irrelevant is also playing so smart. The decision making he has, the way he applies pressure, his teleports, when he is pushing lane or playing safe, he's just a really smart player who understands the fundamentals. And this team is, I actually think, really people are overlooking and thinking that they are lucky. No, I think they're a legitimate team. And so when you say you're concerned about G2's loss to SK, to me, that just kind of legitimizes SK more than it delegitimizes G2.
So I'm at a bit of a loss for SK, right? And this is a team that, to your point, like I loved early on when we were doing our rankings, the upgrades from coming down from the best teams in the second tier, right? Now we've seen that a lot where you have a rookie come in and fucking kill it because there's not a lot of tape on these people. They don't know how to respond to them, and so. Been really impressed by SK. With that said, they lost to Astralis, right? They lost to BDS, and then they also lost to Mad Lions. Now, Mad Lions, okay, great. You should lose to them. But, like, to be fair to SK, 2 of those losses were the very first weekend. And then they haven't lost since. Except for the Mad Lions game. Like, it's kind of crazy.
I think that's first week jitters.
And they beat everybody else.
I think that's first week jitters. I think that's just like.
And so my question, it's like while I want to discredit them to a degree about losing to Astralis and by losing to BDS, who we don't totally hate, at the same time, like, is SK like the best team in the league?
No,
like,
this team, they're not. But they're legitimately good. But I think you're mentioning a BDS. I won't accept any slander of BDS. I actually think BDS is potentially the third best team. Legitimately, I think they are. Yeah. You know what? I might push G2 down. So if we're putting Vitality, Mad, and then
Ooh. Well, don't worry. We're talking about that.
I'm willing to put BDS in third place. This team has been so exciting and just phenomenal to watch.
Oh, I said this last year, and you wouldn't listen to me.
Yeah, because last year was terrible. That doesn't count. That's a different team. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. I think this season preseason, I was really low on them. I know some of the players hated each other before. Apparently, they've just matured and gotten over it. Adam seems to have really matured. And they're just so exciting to look at. They're psychos. They're absolute psychos.
Yeah. What I will say is this year, they're still aggressive early. They still get the kills. But they've now figured out how to kind of maintain a lead. It's probably coaching also. They've figured out how to maintain a lead and then carry it through and win. Before we got on, I was re-watching the G2 BDS game. And how Crowny and Labrov
so good
got those first 2 kills, how the fuck they pulled that off.
That's my other point. That was what I was getting at. Crowny and Labrov are another, with Exakick and DOS, I would say those two are my 1 and 2 in some order. I'm not entirely sure exactly which way, but they are phenomenal. You probably put, actually, no, probably Hans is probably the third best. Like all 3 of those, I'm not entirely sure where I would put them. I think Hans, but the biggest thing I have with BDS, if we're talking about a negative, is their lack of experience. They seem to have one mode, and that is fucking go.
Kill.
And it's so exciting. And like I was saying, Adam is a psycho, and he'll pull off these plays that are just ridiculous. But
incredible.
They have lost a couple of games that they shouldn't have had they known how to kind of pull back, play for objectives. They get too focused on kills as opposed to trying to take objectives or using kills to leverage objectives. And so they just keep taking fights.
The G2 game's a perfect example of that.
Exactly. They keep taking fights, and G2 won that through their experience where they were like, hey, we're losing, but they want to take a bad fight here. We'll take that, and then we'll convert that into a bunch of towers, and then we'll convert that into dragons. And that is something BDS needs to learn to take that next step.
I think that is exactly where having a caps is just so helpful, right? Like, I don't think Nuke has quite enough experience to understand, like, and that is where you need a better jungler and you need a better mid laner.
I would not say better. I would say Shio and...
experienced. It's an experience thing.
Yeah, more experience.
5th place, by the way, fantastic, because you guys had him in last place, so I'm very happy with him. I never had him in last place, so I love it.
I thought they would implode because they hated each other, and instead they seem to be best friends. So,
just like best of 3.
Exactly. The teams that kind of suck. So we have Heretics and Koi tied at 4 wins and 5 losses. Heretics in 6th place, Koi in 7th place, and then Astralis in 3, 6, and 8th place. I think let's go reverse order. Astralis, for me, don't really have much to say. They had a bit of a miracle run the final week to survive whilst Fnatic imploded. Great to see, but they're still a pretty bad team, so I don't have much to say about that. Heretics is a little bit of the same thing. I think Jankos is actually playing incredibly well. He really is. The rest of his team just sucks. Ultimately, like... You know, actually, a perfect example is the Heretics BDS match that happened this week. Jankos was honestly running circles around Shio, and he should have been dominating that game. And instead, Ruby and Eevee are so bad that you just can't win with them. And I mean this. Like, Eevee is literally a huge liability. I don't know how he conned his way into a premier team, but he did. And even Ruby, he's just doesn't deserve it. So while they are both on the team, it doesn't matter how good Jankos is playing, the rest of them are trash. What are your thoughts on Astralis and Heretics? Anything to add?
No. I mean, I think to your point, like, I fundamentally believe that those two teams will have their times at 9 and 10 as well.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't believe that is sustainable for Jankos, and I do not believe that Eevee and Ruby and the team are going to get any better.
Yeah, I agree.
They'll get a little better, but like not in the way. And maybe honestly, if you're Fnatic or XL, maybe you look to get Jankos off Heretics. Maybe you pay a significant amount.
Big time.
Just to fucking replace somebody.
Yeah. I agree with that. Even though I've been seeing Shio's praises, if you add a Jankos in, does he suddenly make BDS that much better?
Oh, that would be fucking elite.
It would be. Koi is my SK. I have no idea what to tell you about them. They basically just don't look coordinated. I don't think Shigenda might get blame. I don't think that's the case. You know, Comp and Trimby in the bot lane are not performing like the top two ADC and support that we have seen them historically perform at. Larssen is playing. It's not even that Comp or Larssen or Trimby are playing poorly. It's just that they're not coordinated. Malrang again is pulling off some of these crazy plays, but I would say that there are like 4 junglers above him, and part of that is the lack of coordination with his lanes. The lane is not performing at the right level. The team just doesn't seem to be playing correctly, and I'm worried that our concerned, Koi, which was previously known as Rogue, was struggling at the last split, and they fixed it in playoffs, literally at semifinals, 1 semis and 1 finals, and they said something happened. We went on a holiday, it clicked, it worked. We were hoping that they'd gotten the monkey off their back, everything was good. Looks like that wasn't the case, and I don't expect much from this team. They're playing without an identity, without chemistry.
You don't think they're gonna make a miracle run here in the playoffs?
If you're asking me about the best of 3 matchups, well, yeah, let's move on to that. Perfect transition. Love it. All right, on day 1, we have Vitality versus Heretics and SK versus Koi. I think let's kick it off with SK and Koi since you're asking me about that. The answer is no.
Let's do it.
I am taking SK. Yeah. I don't think the odds on the money line justify, like it's a 1.85 on both sides. I have even money line. I would like SK to be like a 2.
So I have it at 1.93.
Yeah. A little bit better. I like that bet. I like the under 26.5 kills at 1.52. Yeah. It's not a great line, but none of the kill lines are that good, to be honest. Unfortunately, the plus 1.5 on either side is pretty crappy, and the minus 1.5 is pretty crappy as well.
No, don't worry, Nikki. I got your bet.
So
I got your bet.
What do you got?
You ready? Over 2.5 at 2.01.
Yeah.
It's better than betting straight up either side.
Yeah.
I don't really know who's going to win this game.
Yeah.
It allows for me to... I think they're both going to win a game. I don't think they'll go...
I agree with that.
I don't know which team will win first. I think the other one will be able to respond. Mm-hmm. So to get over 2.5 at 2.01, I really like that value.
I think so.
To your point, they played each other on January 30th.
Yep.
There were 13 total kills, so a pretty measured and controlled game.
Yeah.
So I do like your under 26. I think that's real savvy.
I mean, look, if you're aggressive with it, you could take the under 22.5 at 2.3. That's where the odds get really good. I am actually open to that. I would probably put only 1 unit on it, maybe half a unit. But, if you're playing it safe, it's the 26.5. But I do think the under 22.5. If I could get 23 or 24.5, which you can on some books, I would 100% take those. I do like the over 2.5, but that's basically all my bets. I'm leaning towards SK. They just seem like a more complete team. Irrelevant, I think, matches up against Shigenda really well, and I think he's coordinating with his team better, and just the rest of the team as well. Like Exakick and DOS just look better than Comp and Trimby. Yeah. So I'm leaning towards the SK.
But it is funny, right? Like, it's hard for me to bet against Larssen and Malrang.
Yeah.
Like, that is literally as you would expect, but, like, that is the thing that I'm like, yeah, I love SK, but Larssen and Malrang are, like, pretty good.
They're really good. I mean, Comp and Trimby are really good as well. And they're champions. So you can't overlook the fact that they've gotten to something like I think it's like 4 out of 6 or 5 out of 6 finals.
Yep.
It is actually going to be a phenomenal live betting game.
Yes, absolutely.
Final thoughts?
Upon further investigation, I did consult my advisor,
yes,
Plato, who did mention that it is really hard to beat the same team twice. And so I will now be putting a half unit on minus 1.5 for Koi at 3.36.
Okay. It's a big play.
Plato, it's his perspective, but
he was in the cave and he was watching teams play against each other, and he got that. The next match on that day, or it's actually the match prior to it, is Vitality versus Heretics. this is just like a quick and easy. I think Vitality 2-0s them. The best odds I could find was a -1.5. I got that at 1.75.
For some reason, I think my sportsbook's broken because it's saying -1.5 at 1.91.
Yeah,
which makes no sense. I don't even know if they'd honor that.
That's basically the only bet I would take. I guess
Agreed.
You could take the under 30.5 because both teams tend to have a lot of kills. So under 30.5 kills is 1.68.
Yep.
You could maybe juice those odds a little bit by going to under 28.5. The 26.5, if you look back at their recent games, a lot of them actually get to that 26, 27 mark. So I would be somewhat cautious around the 26.5. But like I said, 27.5, 28.5, if you can get that, I think those are worth it. 30.5, I think at 1.68 is really good. But those are my only two bets on this because I really think this is going to be very one-sided.
Yep, I had the same thing, -1.5.
Great. All right. Day 2. Kicking it off
Heretics. No, I'm kidding.
with Mad Lions versus Astralis. Now, this is even worse than the G2 versus Heretics. Sorry, Vitality versus Heretics. I literally have nothing on.
-1.5 at 1.54. Yeah. Yep. All right.
Oh, you also okay? Good.
No. I mean, I had -1.5 at 1.54. Not great odds.
Yeah.
Don't really care to bet that at that value. Like,
exactly.
I don't see a world where Astralis gets a game on Mad Lions. No. If you did, over 2.5 is 2.81.
Yes.
So like, if you just wanted to put like a flyer on that Astralis gets lucky as shit, but like, I don't know. This doesn't seem like a game that's that lopsided
Exactly.
or that difficult.
No, 100% agree. Okay, in final match, G2 versus BDS. Now, I am really excited about this. I spoiled it a little bit. I think BDS is legitimately a top 3, top 4 team in the league, and I, in some ways, would put them over G2. I think they are more dynamic as a team, and I think they have better chemistry. I think G2 has more experience. So as the game goes longer, G2 has more of an advantage, and you highlighted that perfectly when you brought up their game and the win there. The bets I have here, I'm 100% going to take the money line. I have 4.4.
I have every bet here.
I have 4.4.
Holy shit! I have 4.09.
Okay,
give me 4.4.
I have 4.4 on BDS. They 100% can win this. So I think that is a great one. I have over 2.5 maps at 2.5.
I have 2.44. I was going to say the same thing. Give me that one.
Exactly, 100%. And I find it so hard to believe that BDS will not win one map. And then I actually really like going on with that. BDS plus 1.5 at 2.1.
We're thinking of the same thing, right?
We're connected.
Basically,
we're geniuses.
We're connected. Unfortunately, I mean, I'm trying to think why we wouldn't just load up a fuck ton on over 2.5. But I guess when BDS 2-0s G2, that's the reason why you don't do it, and so we'll be covered by having the plus 1.5.
Or when Adam and the psycho mob of BDS just don't stop running at G2 and basically throw 2 games away. That's the one that if anything, I see G2 winning one pretty cleanly, and then I see BDS winning the second one, and then deciding no, we are
possibly losing it.
We've got to just get 40 kills this game and throwing it at Elder.
So I think you and I are aligned. At least 1 unit on the money line.
Yep.
At least 3 units on the plus 1.5, and maybe also like a unit or 2 on the over 2.5.
I would probably still keep it to 1 or 2 units across them. I think I'm just a little. I think BDS has a little bit too much potential for variance for me to load up a 3 unit bet on them.
All right, but I mean, we love the BDS money line.
Oh, it's so good. I 100%. I would throw some on that. So overall, this is going to be an exciting kickoff. We don't have the next 2 matches, which are going to be the loser bracket matches that will happen on the following day. In my perspective, it is Koi versus Heretics and Astralis versus G2. I think Koi and G2 win. Basically, whoever Heretics faces off against, I think they lose, and whoever Astralis faces off against, I think they lose. And I'm actually pretty confident in a 2-0 in both of those. So I would look at a -1.5 under 2 or 2.5 maps type of thing. That's that.
Chef's kiss.
Look, everyone, thank you for tuning in. We hope you have enjoyed the LEC as much as we have. This new format is just so good, I find. I'm having so much fun, and we're 3 weeks in.
Oh, yeah.
And it's actually spoiled the other leagues for me a little bit, so I want them to adopt that.
No, I think that just because the LCS sucks.
Yeah, basically. At the moment, it really does. I'm really excited about these matches, but in some ways, I'm even more excited about the matches that we have to come next week. Thank you for tuning in. You'll find links to our socials in the comment down below, the description down below. Please follow us. We have a great Discord. It's a lot of fun. A couple of the guys in there have analytical models, which we don't necessarily do. But if you want to really deep dive into that sort of stuff, great place to chat about.
Yep.
Look, if you've made it to the end of this episode, please like, subscribe. It really helps us out. And I think you probably enjoyed it. So we'd appreciate it. We'd love to have you there. And if you have any thoughts or comments, drop them in the bottom there. We always respond. And we love to hear what you guys think, whether you agree or disagree. So thanks, everyone. BNB, closing thoughts?
I'm just looking forward to all the free advertising that we're going to get from the LEC this weekend. So much appreciated.
There we go. Easy. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Brilliant. Toodaloo.